gun. And the thing that still made it to the show, not the stuff that ended up on the floor because I can't say it in this room, but for those of you who don't know that show, he's a robot mechanic and he's in touch with his feminine side. And my favorite thing was when he told the director, who's a very good friend of mine and very, very straight and very conservative, and he said, okay, now you have to do this as gay as you possibly can. And the line was, when you screw it in, give it a hard, manly twist. And so I did. Very different from Wolverine, right? Yeah. Balance, it's all about balance. Thank you.
Next one. Mr. Blum, well, since you're the greatest voice actor in the history of mankind, I'd like to ask you, who's your favorite voice actor?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, my son is Mr. Blum. He's a teacher. I'm just Steve. Secondly, my favorites, well, I loved Mel Blanc growing up. Yes. But in recent history, I would say Frank Welker. Yes. And for those of you who don't know Frank Welker's work, he's the voice of Scooby-Doo and Freddy and every animal you've ever heard in every Disney movie. He's one of the most talented, amazing human beings I've ever known, and a really, really nice guy. And when I first met him, I was working on Scooby-Doo, and I had my fanboy moment. I think I actually went... And he was so great. He gave me his phone number, and he said, you know, if you ever need advice or anything, just give me a call. And he's that kind of a guy. And then I got to work with him in Transformers Prime. He's my Megatron. I was Starscream to him in Megatron. So that was my little fanboy dream come true. It's amazing. But I love everybody. There's so many people in the industry that are just so incredibly talented. All of my friends, when I'm working in the room with them, I will just sit and as they're going at the microphone, I'll just go, oh my God, that was amazing. And we all do that for each other. That's the great thing about the industry, is that we're all fans and we love each other's work. So I'm blown away every single day by the talent in the rooms. It's cool. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
How much of you is in each and every character you played? You think there's a connection between you and the characters in order to play?
There has to be. I think any actor will tell you who is willing to invest themselves that way. I think that every character has a little bit of the actor's personality to bring that character to life. Otherwise, you're just copying something else. I mean, and things like Starscream, for example. There have been so many people who have done Starscream before. I was terrified to take on that role. And I love their work, the work that preceded me. And so I had to find something from me that would make it a little bit different for that version of it. And on the other side of that, I think that I take on a little bit of each of the characters too. They become part of my personality to some degree. And it's a weird relationship. And when I say that I have a lot of voices in my head and they need a safe place to escape, it's really kind of true, because I've always, since I was a little boy, I've made up stories in my head. I've read stories out loud. I used to read to my kids out loud or read for children at their schools. And it's just something that I have to naturally do. I have to get that out of my body. So it's...
You have something in your head?
Pardon me?
You know, when you are talking to yourself, you feel like Starscream is asking you a question or telling you something.
Sometimes I hear it in his voice. Yeah, I do. I mean, I can look at a newspaper and I can start reading it and I start hearing voices of what it might sound like coming from different characters. Not even my own necessarily, but other characters. So, yeah, thank you. It's an illness.
Hey, well, I'm a big fan of yours, especially from Toonami, and I just wanted to know...
Thank you.
I just wanted to know, there's been a lot of Toms in Toonami. Which do you think has been the better host?
Ooh, that's a really tough question. Well, I've been all of the Toms except for one.
Yeah, except
so that's kind of a bipolar question for me to answer. I don't know. Are you talking about the look of the character? It's been kind of the same personality throughout. Even when he was the little guy with the big eyes that everybody had problems with, he's still the same personality. So, I mean, for me, Tom is Tom. He's been the same guy all the way along, except for Sonny Strait's version, which was a little bit different. He started it. Yeah. But yeah, I love them all. I love the one I'm doing right now. I mean, the answer that I have when people ask me what my favorite character is, I'll say the character I'm working on today. And so I'm literally working on Tommy. We broadcasted last night, and so I was still being Tom last night. So that's my favorite one. Hi.
Hi, I'm a big fan of you too. Like I call him Tom also. This is, of all the anime you've ever done, this is probably gonna be a hard choice. What has been your favorite role?
Yeah, it's whatever I'm working on today. You know, honestly, that's why I just said that. Yeah, it's just that I can't choose. You know, each one holds a different place in my heart and my brain. And probably the most pivotal one for me in my career has been Spike.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, that's Spike's voice right there. So I had him carved into my arm because I connect with him so strongly. And Spike led to, I booked the role of Tom because of Spike and Megas XLR. If you guys seen Megas XLR, yeah, that's one of the few shows I didn't have to audition for because I was Spike, and they just love the character. The guys are fans of the anime. So it's been a very pivotal thing for my whole life and my whole career. And was it 15 years later, you guys still love Cowboy Bebop just as much as we did in the very beginning, you know? And for me, that holds a really special place in the heart. But there's so many. I mean, you know, Vincent Valentine is amazing, and Orochimaru, and
Guilmon from Digimon and
yeah, I mean, they're all so cool for different reasons. So I can't pick favorites. It's like choosing which finger to cut off. You know? Okay, thank you.
Hello, Mr. Bloom, how are you?
Oh, still Steve, but I'm good, thanks.
First of all, thank you for reviving, bringing back the Toonami faithful. We're very happy to have you back as Tom.
Hey, you guys did it. I was just the catalyst, man. Thank you. Give yourselves a hand.
And my question is, your voice over the years it's changed a lot. It's very recognizable at some points, but then you do these amazing characters which are very hard to recognize.
Good.
What do you look for in a character? Like any traits or qualities to kind of shift the tone of your voice, or what degree of change will be in your voice when you do a character?
Ah, that's a good question. Well, I design characters vocally based on what the director is telling me. I want to do what's best for the project. And there have been a few projects in recent years where they wanted me to do even two characters within the same show that sound very similar. And that drives me crazy because I want to change them up as much as I can. But sometimes they won't let me. They don't want me to do that. And I wanted to do, for Samurai Champloo, for example, I wanted to do something very different with that voice. I started a lot deeper. And I wanted to take him away from Spike's voice because it's sort of a similar kind of character. But the Japanese client was there, and they said they wanted it to be close to the original Japanese. So they dialed me in to do it just a little bit higher than Spike, but basically the same character. And so I have to do what they tell me to do. And in some cases, they'll let me play a little bit, and especially if it's a new show, new characters that I'm working on, we'll get to play. But basically, they'll show me a picture, and that's where it starts. And like when I was saying, when I'm reading words and characters' voices come up, even more so with pictures. There was I'm working on a new show now called Star Wars Rebels. That's amazing. It's coming out in September, and I'm playing this character called Zeb. And when we were first working with the character, we tried all sorts of different accents and things. And the first thing that came up to my mind was sort of a deep, sort of an English type of thing, sort of slurred once in a while. And they told me they like to smack stormtroopers' heads together, so we had to have a bit of that gruffness in there too, and so they didn't want a straight English accent because he's from another planet, so he wouldn't be straight English. So we put a little English, we put a little Australian, just little flavors of all sorts of things, my favorite accents, and we made this conglomerate of a character, and it came out really great. I mean, hopefully you guys will really love it, but that's where we start. We always start with one idea, and then we sort of build on that, and there's a team that helps me. And especially on a show like that, there's people from Disney, there's people from Lucasfilm, and everybody's got an opinion. They all want it to be the right thing because this is a character that's going to live on. And I take that approach with every character that I do, even if it's Soldier A, who's going to die in one scene. I try to give him as much life into that one character as I possibly can. That's the challenge. So, thank you. Have you guys heard the song Soldier A, by the way? Yeah, if you get a chance, look it up on YouTube. Vic Mignogna, who, he's a very well-known voice actor. Vic and I have done a lot of crazy stuff together, but this is one thing that he put together called Soldier A, and he talked about the character that dies in every episode. And we get 1 or 2 lines and then his life is over. But you really have to invest yourself as much into that as everything else as a voice actor. So anyway, that makes me laugh. Hi.
Yeah, Steve. I might actually have maybe 2. Just one might be a favorite, but I want to ask you. I don't know if you remember when you did Brave Friends of Musashi. You
Yes.
remember that game? I always want to ask you this question. How did it feel to make that game? Because that game literally has been my childhood, and you were my favorite character in the game.
Oh,
Literally,
thank you.
were.
Thank
Especially
you.
in the end when you were literally the prince and everything. I still remember everything.
I don't want to heart, but this is an honest answer. That was one of the games that I came in. I didn't know what I was working on when I came into the studio. And they threw the lines in front of me. I had a piece of paper, and that's it. I didn't even have a picture of the character. I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't remember what he sounded like. I didn't remember any of his lines, and I've never played the game. So for me, that's one of those things that I just came in and out of, and I was onto something else the next day. And then years later, people are coming up to me talking about this thing, and I have no recollection of it. And I feel so bad. I feel like such a bad little actor for not knowing. But it makes me feel good that it meant something to you, and so. How about the signing after? I'm going to be doing a signing after just so that we can get everybody, because we've got a long line of people here. I just want to get through. All right, buddy.
Hello. I have a request.
Okay.
Can you do Grunt's battle cry? And his laugh too, please.
You mean the I Am Krogan?
Yes, please.
Okay, the thing you have to know about Grunt is that they actually pitch my voice down, so it's not going to be exactly what you hear in the game.
It's still you.
But it's a bit. I am Krogan.
I'm a big fan, everybody here. Can you tell us about the monologue you did for one of the Toonami episodes, Fall Hard 7 times?
Fall down 7 times, get back up 8. I have it here, I
really
think.
deep. I just want to thank you for that, and for those who are going through a lot, dark time and everything, that really helped a lot of people. So I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, man. Well, those pieces that we did, those inspirational pieces that we did, I've talked about this with the guys from Toonami, and that was one of our favorite things to do on the show. And we only do them once or twice a year, but it's really, honestly, that's the most meaningful thing that we can do, because we know how it does help people. And when I was reading that, I kind of teared up too, because as a little, I mean, as a little kid, I had a rough time. I was sort of an outcast kid, and I got bullied, and I know what it feels like to fall down a lot. And when you get back up each time, you get a little bit stronger. And so that was a very meaningful piece. Would you guys like to hear that? Yes. Yeah? Okay, I actually brought it with me. All right, so this is Tom. For those of you who aren't familiar, this is Tom from Toonami. Okay, so here's the deal. Life doesn't always want to be your friend. Sometimes it'll feel like life wants to hurt you. But you can't just hide, because nobody likes a quitter. You gotta take chances. They never said it was gonna be fun or easy. Whether it's when you're totally ready, when you least expect it, doesn't matter. Life will punch you right in the face. Now you can lie there for a second, cry a little if you need to, but get back on your feet, because it's the getting back up that counts. That's what shows you've got heart. That's what helps keep you going. You fall down 7 times, get up 8, and know that we'll be right here with you. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. Thank you. All the feels, right? All the feels. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Hey Steven, same personal one. I've been a Toonami fan for all my life. I mean, really been. But I want to ask you a personal question.
Okay.
Do you think anime and cartoon are different from each other and how they relate into reality? Because when I see anime is more emotional as well, the same as cartoons, but they don't find them equivalent. Like they're both all together, and they seem separate. Like they're not one.
So you're speaking of anime as compared to American cartoons?
Yeah,
Yeah, or original
anime
cartoons.
is cartoon,
Yeah.
cartoon is anime. It's like they think it's two different things.
I think they're getting closer than they were. I think back in the old days, cartoons were fun and crazy and Saturday morning for little kids. And anime has never been afraid to deal with really deep issues. And, you know, issues that all of us have felt throughout our lives. You know, loneliness and depression and family problems and all sorts of things. You know, all the deep issues that we go through. And American cartoons had been afraid to do that for a very long time. But shows like Avatar and Legend of Korra.
Oh yeah, that
Shows like that.
when you did that was like the foundation of like American anime. Like
Yeah, well, that takes
cartoons.
the flavor from anime. It actually
I mean,
took some of that flavor from
These
it.
guys like wow.
And also some of the X-Men things. You know, Wolverine, the X-Men. I got to go really deep with Wolverine and talk about his past and his feelings and stuff like that. And that didn't really occur back in the old days as much in some of the American cartoons. And so that would be the biggest difference that I would see between the two. But they're sort of coming together now, and with the gaming also, it's all crossing over.
And also the movie. That's fine.
The movie?
And also like the movie, like the X-Men Days of Future
Future
Past.
Past, yeah.
Yeah, because it's almost like that as well, like
Yeah.
going to the past, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thankfully, they're starting to deal with issues and dysfunction and real things that happen to all of us, you know, so I think that's healthy. I think it's good, and it's a good way for all of us to process and feel connected. And it's nice. And it's great to have silly animation, too. I mean, I grew up on stuff like Flintstones and, you know, all the Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers stuff and Animaniacs and, you know, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's all good, you know? It all serves a purpose.
I just don't want everyone to understand the difference between.
Yeah, that's the difference for me, really. That's the biggest difference for me.
They're one and the same.
They are, yeah. As are we all.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, bud.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey Steve, glad to have you here in Puerto Rico.
Thank you.
I also have a request.
Yes.
Can you say sweet cheese in Wolverine's voice?
Swiss cheese?
Yes.
Like you want me to make Swiss cheese with my claws? Is that what you're saying? All right, Swiss cheese, bub. Back off. Thanks. That makes me happy.
Hey, Steve.
Hey.
All right, I have a question and I have a challenge. Do you do challenges by any chance?
It depends on the challenge. Does
All
it?
right, well, let me get the question out of
It
the way.
doesn't require removal of clothing, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No.
All right. Just checking, huh? It's Puerto Rico.
No removal of clothing, I can assure you that. My question
Too late. Oh, no, sorry. I'm not wearing pants. Sorry.
Oh my. Alright, my question to you is, if Tom ever got his own show, like his own anime, for instance,
Yeah.
what do you think it would be about? And my challenge to you is, for the remainder of this panel, all the rest of the questions, I want you to try and answer them in a different voice that you have done.
Oh.
Do you accept?
I do not. Because I don't have to. And what would Tom, wow, that's an interesting thing. For what kind of anime would Tom do?
Yeah, like what kind of show?
I think Tom would like to do a musical. Why not? Why not? Something he hasn't done before. Why not? Yeah. I'm gonna ask the guys at Toonami to write me a music version. We'll do a video. Yeah. Been throwing down some beats for a while, so why not? Thank you.
Hello again.
Hello again.
My question to you is, we all have a favorite character, Spike for me, that you have played, but regardless of the connection of every one of the characters, a job is a job. So which is the character you hated to play regardless of the good job that you make in each one of them?
That's a really good question. Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't hated any characters. I've loved every character I've played. There's only one show I ever walked out on. And the reason I walked out on it is because they called it Project X. They wouldn't tell me what it was. I came in and they said I was going to be this big creature with things coming out of his head. That's all they told me. What I didn't realize was that it was tentacles coming out of his head, and it involved a little girl. You guys know what that means. Yeah. I didn't know this, and so I go into the studio and I'm this creature and I'm just doing my thing, just making, they said make the creature as gross as you can, and I just, you know, doing all the sound effects and really disgusting things. And at first I thought, oh, this is cool. It's a cool creature. He's got like 10 eyes and all these tentacles going. And then all of a sudden they show this little girl and the creature starts attacking her. As you know, the creatures attack little girls in these things. Hentai, for those of you who don't know what it is. So I didn't know what it was, and I lasted about 10 minutes when I saw that first scene and what that creature was doing and the sound of that little girl screaming. I just said, you know what? I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. I just can't. And here's the contract back, and God bless you, but I'm not going to do this stuff. And so I walked out, yeah.
First of all, good evening, Steve. First of all, I want to say that you've made my cousin possibly the happiest guy in the world. The picture that you tweeted yesterday of the infamous Second Son cosplayer.
Oh, yeah?
That was him.
Oh, awesome.
And he's ecstatic about it.
Beautiful.
He's still jumping with joy.
Awesome. Tell him to be careful. How does Joy feel about it? Is she okay with it?
So my question is, so like I have my own goals at the moment. Like I'm gonna be a teacher and such.
Awesome.
But like I've always part of me has always wanted to try voice acting,
yep.
And I've always wanted to know what are your tips? Because I don't think it's really viable to find a voice actor teacher kind of thing here, voice coach.
Yep.
But I practice for example when I'm driving alone. People probably think I'm insane because I'm just yelling out voices. If you don't mind me trying one and
go for it, yeah.
All right, so here's my attempt on Vegeta.
Okay.
Kakarot, I am the Prince of all Saiyans.
Nice. Very nice.
And well, yeah, I don't have any microphones or anything, but just general ideas of yours on how to improve and how to get myself out there, because if anything, I'd like to at least do a minor role at least once in my life.
Well, that's a 4-hour conversation. So what I've done is I've put a little thing on my website. If you just go to steveblumvoices.com, if you don't remember that, just Google my name. That comes up as the official website. On the front page, it says, how do I become a voice actor? Click that link. There's a full page of information. That'll get you started. And then follow all the links on the bottom. There's a huge blog that D. Bradley Baker wrote. And D is one of the best voice actors in the world, in my opinion, and a really good friend. And he's come up with this blog that he's worked with over the years that will save you tens of thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache and a lot of time. So just read through it, and that will give you soup to nuts, everything you need to know about the business. And it'll also give you guidance on how to find instruction. And there is instruction available online, too. So even if there aren't really solid teachers here in Puerto Rico, you can find them online, and they come from all over the world, and you can actually get a pretty good education doing that. But you'll also see in there that I tell you things like do it because you love it. And that's the most important thing. You know, if you're reading for kids, reading for the blind, doing volunteer work, or just screaming in your car, to make you feel better in traffic. All of it counts, and all of it is experience. And so do it because you love it. That's the main reason. And then later on, if you make money at it, great. If you don't, that's okay too. I didn't make money on it for many, many years. And I didn't do it full time until I was 40 years old. So I had 5 other careers before that. So, yeah, there's always hope. Always hope. Thank you.
Flame-Dramon, the fire of courage. He was a stentorian sort of guy with flames all over him. It was great. But Guilmon was one of the first characters that I got to play.
Who is sweet and innocent, and called his partner Takatomon, and just wanted Guilmon bread and sleepy by nappy time.
And it was one of the first things that my kids could watch, and and they wouldn't have nightmares. So, yeah, I love that. And that show, and I was a writer for that show too. So it was one of the very few anime that I'd worked on that I actually understood what was going on as I'm saying the words. Because I understood the whole context. I wrote a lot of those episodes, and so I got to write for my friends too, so that one holds a very warm place in my cold black heart.
This is easy. Guilmon loves Puerto Rico. Thank you. What's your name?
Ed? Anthony?
Andy.
Oh, Andy, I'm sorry.
So today, you're Andymon.
Well, that went well, Starscream.
We've lost the boy, Master. The Autobots must be shielding their signals.
Well, Logan, I can't even rely on your SWAT team to swat an insect. What's wrong with you?
One insect among 7 billion.
Oh, shut up!
He could be anywhere.
Then we will force them to find him for us. It's time for the world to know about our presence. No more disguises. No mercy for the Batman. Its time has come for its master's arrival. To the Batcave, Robin.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. Give a hand for this guy. Great, buddy. Wow. That ain't easy to do. Well done, buddy. I think she's proud of you. That's beautiful. Wow, that was fun. Thank you. Happy birthday to you. Her name is Miriam. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Miriam. Happy birthday to you.
Get Shyamalan with the Amon voice.
Prepare to get Shyamalan.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. You've been purified. The revolution has begun. Tell a friend. Member FDIC. Conditions and restrictions apply.
Hello, Steve.
Hello.
Yes, I would like to ask you, what is your favorite show or video game you've participated on? Does it get enough attention? And if it doesn't, how do you feel about shows you've done and how they get overwhelmed by other shows you've done that you don't consider as good?
Oh, so many questions in one. Oh, my brain's gonna explode. Okay. Yeah, I know, the voices are all arguing in there right now. I don't have a favorite, honestly, because everyone that I work on has its own flavor, and you know, I invest a certain piece of me into that. So, and I also don't have a problem with one show becoming more popular than another, because it becomes more popular because of how you guys perceive it. So if you guys say one show is better than another, fantastic. I hope that's true for you. Not everybody's going to agree. So I try not to have an opinion about those sorts of things. I really play my life not choosing favorites. I kind of, I live in the present. I live in the moment, and that's really important to me to do that. So it's not the answer you were looking for, I'm sure, but that's really the way I function. So I'd rather leave it to you guys to choose your favorite things. And I don't have a problem if one show doesn't do so well. It makes it actually more of a collector's item. All right, thank you.